channel, Lily, seriously. Hi YouTube crafters, welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome, and if you're not, well, welcome back. Today I wanted to make a video that I think is important for people who, who make resin crafts, jewelry, etc. For resin crafters, and I haven't seen it talked about a lot, or at all really, and that's about how to be more eco-friendly when you're crafting with resin. Resin is, in case you didn't know, it's plastic, and it's made from petroleum. So any way you slice it, it's a plastic product, and it doesn't decompose. So that eventually, in the long run, it ends up in the landfill. So it's important to be good stewards of the earth, and I thought I'd make this video to share with you guys like some tips that I use in my own crafting and in my own business to be more eco-friendly, and I've jotted them down so I don't get confused. Yeah, and just take what you want from here, whatever works for you. We're all different with our crafting. Okay, so I'm gonna start with number one. I'm gonna try to put numbers somewhere, but I'm not very tech savvy, so it might not work out. Number one is learn the basics of resin. When you know the basics, and I guess beyond the basics, when you know how to use resin really well, you minimize the mistakes that you make. And when you minimize the mistakes that you make, you minimize waste. It's really that simple. So, learn how to mix your resin really well, how to pour it well, learn what you can and what you can't put into your resin, like wet things versus dry things, things like that. So that when you start making your resin jewelry, accessories, whatever it is you make, art, you minimize your waste. Okay, so number two, measure your resin usage before you pour. It sounds really simple, but it's something that even I, who have been doing this for a couple of years, I still forget sometimes. But measure out or have in mind the amount of resin that you're going to use before you pour. And there are a couple of ways to do this. One of the ways that I like the most is that the molds that I have, like that I make, like this one, or that I buy, I fill them with water, pretty level, and then I carefully put that water into a little measuring cup, and then that way I know the milliliters that it takes to fill up my mold. So that way, a very close approximate guess. So that way when I go to do my resin pour, I know exactly how much resin is going to be used for my mold. And it doesn't just save on, it doesn't just save the earth, it also saves you money so that you don't waste resin. And some people are like, have another mold ready. But when you measure it out, you really don't have to do that because you know exactly how much you're using. Awesome. That kind of goes with number three. Plan out your pours. Think about the designs that you want to make. Personally, hey Lulu, I sketch mine out and I keep them in a little sketchbook, ideas and things like that, so that I don't go into a new project cold. I know I have a really good idea of what I'm gonna make. So that's what I do. Sometimes if you're unsure about like a new design or something, you can make a really small sample, which I like to do a lot, so that way I don't end up with like massive failures like these. That actually leads me into number four, is that even when you do plan it, you do mess up a little. I was trying to make these holographic, maybe I can't tell if the camera's zooming in, actually it's on my phone, but I tried to make these pink holographic bears, and all the glitter just fell to the bottom and they look really ugly. So it happens, sometimes you do fail, but when that happens, be creative. You are an artist. Sometimes I chop up pieces of failure pieces and I put them into new mixes and make like a confetti mix, and I've made some guitar picks like that, and they kind of look like stained glass jello. It's really cool. So just because you failed at a design doesn't mean you have to just throw it away. You could always recycle it into a new project. Number five, that's my mom's dog. Number five, reuse everything. Everything that you possibly can reuse, please reuse it. Measuring cups, stir sticks. What else did I write down? Paint brushes. Someone who shall remain unnamed. I saw them on Instagram. They're a resin artist, and they do pretty well for themselves. The point is, I saw her glazing some pieces with resin, and she was using a paintbrush, and someone in the comments asked her, like, oh, like, how do you clean your brushes? And she answered like, oh, I don't clean these, I just throw them away. And I was like, ugh, that's that's a lot of waste, and especially when they're plastic brushes, because you know how some brushes are like metal with the little plastic bristles, like these are completely plastic brushes. It's just really wasteful, and all that goes straight to the dump. So reuse things as much as you can. I use regular, maybe I can zoom in here, I just use regular paint brushes, and I glaze my pieces most of the time with UV resin, and then, or it works with regular resin too. Just wipe it off with like 70–90% isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and it gets your brushes really clean, and that way you can reuse them. Just make sure you don't inhale all that, because it's not good for you. Your mixing cups, a lot of times when you buy resin, they come with mixing cups. At least the Alumilite Amazing Cast does. It comes with like 3 every time. So reuse these. Sometimes when I'm feeling lazy, I just leave my stir stick in there. But that's okay, because this is a number 5 plastic, so it just pops right out of there when it's cured correctly. So super, I mean, it saves you money as well, you know, it's just smart. Also your stir sticks, these are wooden. I reuse these a lot. I have a couple to show you here. These are all my old little stir sticks. They're wooden, and they have a lot of junk on them. Look, that one has like resin still stuck on the end. I just trim them, and then, or I wipe them, you know, with alcohol when I'm done using them. Or I let it harden, and I reuse them. It's that simple. You don't have to get new ones. Again, it also saves you money, so it's a smart thing to do. Number 6 kind of goes along with it. Also recycle cups, boxes, old paintbrushes, sticks, whatever you can, for resin tools or resin storage. Sometimes, especially when you're starting out, if you're like me, like you get really excited and you want to go out and buy everything new or buy everything cute, like, oh, I bought this, but you know, now it's in pink and I want it. You know, it's really nice to have things like that, but you don't have to do that. You can make your own tools and stuff. Over here, oh, I forgot to mention that. I have the lid of a Taco Bell power bowl, and it has a couple of, I don't know, knife marks in there. Anyway, I have this to cover up resin pieces when they're curing, so things don't fly in there. I have this needle tool that I made by recycling a paintbrush. It was for my acrylic nails. I ruined the brush. So anyway, I put a needle in there and I super glued it. And that's my little needle tool that I use for so many things. So that's recycled. And then I have this cup that was actually like a Mexican sour cream or something. Anyway, I emptied it and it took me a while, but I put in measurements with water and I marked it and just put tape over it. So this is a giant measuring cup that I made. And I use this specifically for silicone when I make my molds. So all that is recycled, and it's really fun and it's really easy to reuse things. I love doing it. It's great. I just saw some cups that I have over here that were actually for point number 5 real quick, is that you can actually buy little silicone cups. There are so many varieties online, different prices. I just got the white ones because I like to see the color a little more, but that kind of backfired because it stained in there anyway. So the point is that you can buy reusable measuring cups and mixing cups that are silicone, and they're even easier to pop cured resin out of if you don't want to clean it off immediately. Although if you do get reusable silicone cups, I do recommend that check that they have a shiny surface, because on one of these, and actually a couple of the cheaper silicone mixing cups that I bought from like eBay, they weren't shiny, and I don't know why, but the resin, probably because it's not 100% silicone, it stuck to it and it was really hard to get it out, and I actually had to throw that measuring cup away. So just disclaimer, make sure they're shiny. It makes life easier. Point number 7, if you have sensitive skin and you want to wear gloves, which actually pretty much all the resin manufacturers recommend that you do wear gloves when you're using resin, because when it is in its uncured form, it is toxic. I just don't do it because I don't know, I like working with my bare hands a lot. I'm sure a lot of you are like that too. But if you have particularly sensitive skin and you want to protect your hands, you can buy biodegradable gloves. They don't have to be those latex or nitrile, sorry, or vinyl gloves. You can buy biodegradable ones. I've seen a couple on Amazon and eBay, so they're available and they're out there. So it's a good alternative. Number 8, dispose of your resin excess responsibly. The best way to dispose of excess resin is to use it all, is to activate it. So in the event that you bought too much resin, it went kind of yellow, you don't want to use it anymore, which is wasteful. So try to only buy what you need when you need. But in the event that you do have extra, the best way to dispose of it, like I said, is to activate it. So mix it together, let it harden, and then throw it away. Otherwise, you should take it to, I don't know what they're called, but like one of those facilities where they like incinerate toxic chemicals, because that's what you're supposed to do. So again, the best way to dispose of it responsibly is to mix it up and let it cure. Number 9, buy locally. Buy locally when you can. Obviously it reduces the need for things having to be mailed. So all those emissions get canceled out. One of my favorite stores is actually Michael's. It's not like a very local, like it's a big box store, you know. But I like to buy from there when I can. Obviously they don't have everything I need, or they don't have like niche items all the time, like some Etsy sellers or eBay sellers. They have like really unique molds or glitters or things like that. But when I can, I try to buy locally because that reduces shipping emissions and things like that. Oh, also, if possible, and you are buying online, if possible, try to combine your cart. Like if you're buying from one store online and you know they're going to ship everything together, you know, try to wait a while until you have like one big cart, and that way you only have to ship things one time. They only have to ship things one time. Point number 10 is buy from responsible companies. You know, do your research, be responsible as a consumer and as an artist, and buy from companies that try to do better for the earth. I know, for example, the brand Art Resin, they don't claim to be eco-friendly at all, because they are making a petroleum-based product, resin, but they do try their best, I read on their website, to recycle the drums and the totes, like the giant containers of resin. They clean them out and they reuse them. So that's great, and they're making better strides towards that. One of my favorite resin that I use the most, Alumilite Amazing Clear Cast. I'm not actually sure how eco-friendly their company is. There's no information available. I do plan on emailing them because I just don't know, and I don't really like not knowing. The downside is that the Amazing Clear Cast is so much more cheap than the Art Resin. Art Resin is considerably more expensive. So there's that to think about. Let's see, number 11. I just wanted to touch really quickly on glitters. It's kind of like I don't want to tell, I use glitter all the time, and I don't want to tell anyone to not use glitter, but I was thinking the other day, I was like, well, maybe I could use like biodegradable glitter, but I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because you're going to put it in the resin, which is plastic anyway, so it's not like that would ever biodegrade, and I don't know how well it works. So I guess just, I don't know, food for thought. Use glitter responsibly. Maybe try not to buy or use that much of it if you do use it. I haven't really figured that one out because you're just putting more plastic into plastic, you know? It's cute though. All right, point number 12, which is my last point, is use eco-friendly, recycled and recyclable shipping products. If you sell your resin crafts or art, and you're shipping them out to people, you're not selling in person, try to use as many recyclable, eco-friendly things as you can, like those little backing cards, your actual, bubble mailers, like those plastic ones. Those are so bad. I mean, it's literally trash that goes into the environment. So try to use paper ones when you can. I know they make recycled shipping labels, like that you print on. So that's great. I'm phasing out right now all of my like plastic bags that I put my products into. I now put them in paper bags, but I do have some plastic left that I'm using because I have it. But I'm trying to phase that out. So there are a lot of options, especially nowadays. A ton of options for recycled shipping goods. Even tape, like clear tape. I've seen some like cellulose recyclable type. So it's out there. So something else to consider. And that's it. Those are, that was 12 points. I didn't think I could come up with that many, but I did. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope you found some of these tips helpful. I know it can be kind of daunting when you're starting out. And I just wanted to mention that, you know, there's no need to feel guilty about using plastic in your art. In my opinion, art is so necessary and it has helped me so much. It's such an escape and something so pleasant for me to do. And I wanted to find a way to continue to do it in a way that's healthier for the environment. Also, real quick, I remembered that there's a book that I read. Nowadays, plastic has kind of become like the P word, you know, like the big evil. But there's a book, it's a 2014 book. It's called Plastic Purge by Michael St. Clements. It's so interesting. His whole premise is just plastics, like the good, the bad, the ugly. And how to use less plastic, not necessarily just like cancel plastic out of your life. There are a lot of plastics that are necessary. It's a really good book. I really recommend it. Again, it's 2014 Plastic Purge. You know, not all plastic is a great evil, and we can use it in a smart way. And I just really liked his approach. So if you have time, you can go out and read it. Anyway, if you sat through this video, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, or if you have any other suggestions that I didn't think of, I would love to hear those. You can leave it in the comments. Otherwise, have a really good day. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Real quickly before I go, and before the light leaves, I wanted to show you my Etsy shop update. Aren't these cute? I'm so excited to post these. I already took the pictures earlier today. These are little alligator clips. I have this cute little black pair. These come in a pair of 2. They're just so cute. I love how they came out. I have some holo bears. The holographic, oh, it's so hard for the camera to pick it up, but they are holographic. They look silver on here, but they're cute. And I have some more clips. Oops, sorry. Right here. Not to toot my own horn, but I think they're adorable. This is my little tray I use. Oh, see, that's recycled. That's my little tray that I use to cure things in the UV light. Anyway, that's gonna be on my Etsy shop. It's happybearsunshineco.etsy.com if you're interested.